It's Thursday, September 5, 2024. This is CVM News at noon. I am Ruhan Daly. Thanks for joining us. And we begin with news on a somber note. One man was shot dead at a bar in Christiana, Manchester last night. It is alleged that a gunman entered the establishment and opened fire on the victim at the bar counter. The victim has been identified as 29-year-old Romario White, a carpenter of Silent Hill, Manchester. White survived a previous attack last year, August, where he was shot at a fun day in Christiana. One resident spoke with our news team saying this incident will disturb the peace in the town.
Christiana is normally a quiet and peaceful place. Me personally, KFC is supposed to, and I'm saying it's not going to work because Christiana don't have no nightlife. It's a place that goes quiet very quickly. By 8:39, it's a quiet town. Usually a peaceful and quiet place. With this activity now, the citizens of the community are going to be uneasy and uncomfortable. I suppose the police will take some action as to the opening time and closing time of bars and other business places from tomorrow onwards. I think that's one of the repercussions of the so economic activity in Christiana is going to be curtailed for a little while. It is unfortunate. You understand? It is unfortunate for many of the business persons, even the persons who apply the transportation routes in and out of Christiana. This will affect them going forward.
The Minister of Education, Favour Williams, announced in a post-cabinet press briefing on Wednesday that more special needs students will be placed in private institutions for the new academic year. She says while spaces are available for students in public schools, if the need arises, students will be enrolled in one of 17 partnered private schools. Williams says plans have also been implemented to certify new special education facilitators in the public school system.
Of note, there are public spaces in our public schools available that cater to specific challenges and disabilities, but in the unlikely event that the needs are greater, we place them in one of 17 private schools with which we have established partnerships. Secondly, there's an increase in the number of shadows, but we don't call them shadows anymore. Shadows are those persons who would be with your child to, from school and within school. So the new name for shadows is Special Education Needs Assistants. SENAs. I hope, I'm sure we'll become used to that word, and they are in our schools. We have 338 new SENAs, bringing the total across all regions to 759. We've also been able to top up the salaries a bit. Senators were getting about $40,000. We moved that to $60,000. Yes, we're not bowling it out of the park, but it's a move in the right direction. We have also done some alignment of courses with heart so that our centers will be able to receive certification with a level 1, 2, or 3 in the very near future.
But while the school year might have been off to a great start for most, other school administrators are left to contend with a shortage of teachers. As they see it, the Education Ministry has failed to address the pressing crisis of teacher migration. Courtney Lewis tells us more.
Students in St. Thomas turned out to school on Monday, but operations were not as expected. Principal of the Yallas High School, Mark Malaver, says despite recruitment efforts, there is a major shortage of teachers this academic year.
The biggest challenge, however, is the shortage of teachers that we have. We are short of 6 teachers, and I'm also very mindful of the fact that there are some areas that are absolutely difficult to fill those vacancies. We are also short of our literacy teacher and the science teacher. We are looking to fill those vacancies. We continue to advertise through the printed media as well as in the virtual space, but there have not been many takers.
He says the government is unaware of the real challenges plaguing schools and links the shortage of teachers to a migration crisis.
First thing we can do is lie to ourselves. It requires a response that will bring the entire government apparatus to bear on the crisis in and of itself, and for the Ministry of Education to be far more strategic in how it is that they take the necessary steps to mitigate against teacher crisis. And they have not even accepted that there is a crisis with respect to teacher shortage, let alone to have a discussion or a dialogue around how it is that we mitigate against the crisis.
He adds schools across the island suffer from a lack of resources.
The ministry, I think, also needs to treat with very expeditiously the issue of equitable funding of our schools. That in and of itself is a major challenge. As it is now, we are in a constant state of deficit, and it impacts on our ability to be very effective in teaching and learning.
However, the same obstacles did not fare at the Yallas Primary School. Their principal remains positive about the school year.
Despite of all the challenges, I've retained my full complement of teachers for the new academic year. Today I have a few teachers out on sick leave, and of course that's unavoidable. We are going full speed ahead, having a few minor challenges that can be fixed in short order.
The ministry's latest reports of 100 fewer teachers migrating when compared to the previous year. Nonetheless, Malavar says the government should be held to account as the teacher migration continues. Courtney Lewis for CVM News.
And with that, we take a break. More news at noon when we return.
Welcome to Candy Craze, your one-stop shop for everything sweet. Got a craving? Planning a party? We've got you covered. With over 200 different types of candies and chocolates, you're sure to find your favorite here. Create your own ice cream flavor by mixing in your favorite toppings, or enjoy our delicious milkshakes, blizzards, dip cones, and Belgian waffle ice cream sandwich sundaes. Visit Candy Craze at Progressive Plaza Barbican and upstairs Fontana Waterloo. Candy Craze, making every moment sweeter.
I'm Tashika Lu, and we all have a story. I can vividly remember when I was about to sit my CSEC exams, my life took an abrupt turn. While I was walking home, I was struck by a motor vehicle. As a result, I suffered major memory loss, which unfortunately, I failed my exams. It was impossible to retain information. This one school piqued my interest the most, and it was the Distinction College, lowest school fee and flexible payment plan. They offer over 35 vocational and professional courses. Eventually, I became a part of the family, and during my time there, I resat my exams, and with the patience of my teachers, I was successful. In addition to that, I studied media and broadcasting, specializing in radio presentation. I co-hosted the school's radio show, Distinction 411. I voiced numerous ads for the school, interview artists, hosted graduation. And now, I have my own radio show called On the Air with Tashika Lu. So you see, my friends, if I can do it and I did, you can do it too. You can call them at 876-356-416.
One member of the Jamaica Labour Party Communication Task Force is defending the action of the Prime Minister for calling a by-election in Northeast St. Ann, despite present and upcoming vacancies in South Trelawney and in Northwest St. Andrew, after the resignation of Finance Minister and the Member of Parliament for the constituency, Dr. Nigel Clark.
The Jamaica Labour Party categorically rejects any such assertion or suggestion. I will tell you why.
Yes.
The party has to be mindful of its political considerations, but even more so has to focus attention on the management of the country, management of the economy. And as you said before, having regard to where we are in the scheme of things, we are now less than a year to a general election, as it were. What you have now is an important refreshing happening, building on economic gains that we have made so far, and seeking to channel our efforts into accelerating and intensifying rates of growth going forward.
Meanwhile, General Secretary of the People's National Party, Dr. Dayton Campbell, is suggesting that the calling of by-election is political maneuvering in preparation for the impending general election due in 2025. Speaking on Lead Story last evening, Dr. Campbell blasted the move by the Prime Minister.
It is a failing government that is trying to concoct some form of program that will re-energize the base of their party. So they want to use the resources of the state to have serial by-elections to try and energize their base. We're not participating in that. But I want to make some observations. First, I want to say it's good to see Marlon. The JLP only uses him at certain time of the year. I realize that when positions become available in the Senate, he's never considered, but he's a very good spokesperson for them. So it's good to see that they've called on him again. I find it very curious that a minister of government would have resigned for over a week without the Prime Minister telling the country, based on what he's saying, that Matthew Samuda resigned from last week. Two, this is a senator and a minister that you have caused to resign so that he can go and run in a seat just before a general election is due. You have a sitting member of parliament that for some strange reason resigned, and then the Prime Minister is going to say he's going to reward her with some other appointment. Then you call this by-election in less than 24 hours, whilst leaving vacant the constituency that has been without representation for over a year. That is disgraceful.
Meanwhile, the General Secretary of the party says that this and the follow-up by-elections are an opportunity for the JLP to mobilize their base before the general election.
Well, I plead the truth in saying that that is not so, because we have said that we are ready to contest Morantby and we are ready to contest Aniantown. Reason being that those by-elections are being called when the next local government election is due in 2028, 3.5 years from now. The point being made here is that we are in the final year. I heard the points about being fiscally prudent and all of those things, which obviously doesn't make sense, and that there's no disruption. We currently are operating without a Minister of Water because we had the resignation of the minister and we weren't told, and because he's now vying for a constituency. When you do a serial set of by-elections, you're going to have the same ministers out there campaigning when they should be focusing on the business of the government. This is designed to help a failing government whose popularity is on a downward spiral. We think that it's waste of taxpayers' money.
Yeah.
It takes approximately $25 million to hold a by-election.
Yes.
If you're going to hold a series of them. Now, Marsha Smith was the one that was asked to resign. You have Carl Samuda, you have Mike Henry, you have Babsy Grange, J.C. Hutchinson, all in the departure lounge. None of those persons were asking her. This young lady in her first term, she wasn't supported by the Labour Party. She was used and disposed of. And the Prime Minister is going to say that he's going to find somewhere else to place her. This is just the government trying to use the state to play politics and to settle the JLP internal business.
Our live interview is next, but first, this break.
Rise and shine and start your day with the Wealthy Club's Power Hour. It's a transformative mind-body workout infused with strength training, yoga, meditation, and journaling. Every Wednesday from 5:30 a.m. to 6:30 a.m. Starting September 11th, join us for free live in person right here at the marketplace in front of Camila's Kitchen, or you can join in from anywhere in the world thanks to our friends over at Just Create.